set of toilets. For your information, that there's another one over there. Sorry? You've been there before? Been there, done. The old city is inside the walls, but the city outside the walls is even bigger, much bigger. Not all of you can see the model, especially behind me. I have eyes in my back, right? So could you please make a bigger circle, a little bigger, okay, so that you can allow everyone in. Bigger, away, meaning away from. Yes, away from. Okay, now it's better. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Akko. Akko is a peninsula, meaning it is surrounded on three sides by the sea. This is the east, the west, and the south, but it is linked with the land in the north. Okay, so that's why it is a peninsula, like the Sinai Peninsula. It means that if you're looking at the sea, you're looking for directions, we are used to see the sea on the west. It's true, also here, but you can also see the sea in the east and in the south. So obviously you should be careful in determining directions by the sea. Now, the old city walls are here. These are the old city walls of the Turks. Okay, these are the old city walls. And when you look at the walls, especially here, you can see the walls built by Ahmad al-Jazar. These are thick walls. After the Napoleonic Wars. And you can clearly see also here a small portion of the wall built by Daher and Omar. Okay? At the end of the tour, I'm going to take you up here. We're going to stand here and we will see Daher and Omar's walls, the walls that stood before Napoleon. So during the time of Napoleon, this wall did not exist in 1799. Only this one. Napoleon's soldiers were here, besieging this wall, not this wall. Right?
Is the moat natural?
Sorry?
The moat, is it natural?
No, it's not a natural moat. It's excavated. Okay, it's an artificial.
Is it considered a broad wall, a thick one, or is it filled with like?
It's
a really thick wall or
no, it's filled with earth. Yes, it's stones on both sides, and then you fill it up with earth.
We entered from there, right, with the bus?
You can hardly see. Could someone please sit a little bit to the a bit to this side, Oh, better, much better, closer to me. Closer to me. Ah, great. Now I can see. Okay, because the lights obscure that. So here's the road. We took this road in. Okay, we were basically driving between the walls here. We saw the moat here, this is the wall. And then over here there's the modern building of the inn, Anna Inn. Okay, it's kind of a hotel actually. You can bring groups. Quite good actually. I've been there once. I was positively surprised. And then we turn to the right, my left, your right, in the parking lot. This is our bus. You see the bus? This is Eiyal. Hey, Eiyal. Okay, so Eiyal is here. And then we walked in and climbed up to this courtyard. This is where we were standing. We were sitting right here, and this is Baha'u'llah's room inside. Okay? These are the Baha'i buildings with the blue windows, blue shutters. Right? Are you familiar with that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
If not, just tell me.
Right? The shutters we haven't heard.
Just questions about what I got at the moment. Okay? Don't ask questions later. Ask things I haven't discussed yet. Yes.
Why isn't it better to have a fort closer to where you're going to be attacked? Why is the fort
You could be attacked from the north.
I'm saying this is a fort. It's easier to is that against attacking from here or attacking from the sea?
Both, but mainly from the sea, because they were concerned by sea attacks. The inland is Ottoman.
Yeah, right.
Enemy will come from here,
So why is the fort so far? Wouldn't it be there?
far away from the sea.
Yes.
As far as possible from this sea, as far as possible from this sea. So this is the intermediary point, the best point, as far as possible from all naval attacks.
It's a fort or it's a prison?
It's a fort, later turned into a prison. Because it is a fort, you can use it as prison. Just like the Tower of London. It's a fort, but it's also a prison.
What about the
Because of that,
why wasn't it?
they named it Fort Prison.
Sorry?
Sijn al-Qala.
Sijn al-Qala, indeed, the prison of the fortress.
So if the danger was from the seaside, why wouldn't they build the thick wall on the seaside?
They also built it on the seaside.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what we see here is where we are at the moment, and we will shortly. We are now here in this building. Okay, we were here. We came down here, and now we're in this building, seeing the model. Once we're finished, we cross the garden here and enter this compound only on the lower level, the Crusader level. This is the Hospitaller Fortress, the Hospitaller Fortress. So we're going to explore that. Other sites that we're going to see are, for instance, the Hammam. This is the Hammam, Hammam el-Basha as it is known. And if you look clearly, there's a bridge here, there's an arch stretching from the Hammam, leaning on the wall. This is where, in 1947, the Eiyal members stood and attached the explosives. That's where the explosion happened. The Arabs are here. The Jews are here. You see why the Arabs could easily escape, and the Jews had to go
Directly from the prison to the hammam.
Where's the
We also, just a second.
Flash off.
What else do we see? Here is the dome, green dome of Ahmad al-Jazar's mosque and compound. This is the building of the mosque, the compound, and here is Ahmad al-Jazar himself. He's buried here.
And his adopted
And his successor,
son,
Suleiman, is also buried here.
What about this building?
In a moment. Now, this is therefore the northern side of the city. In addition, there are several inns in Akko. We're going to see them all later, very, very quickly. Over here, next to the sea, next to the harbor, there's a little inn. It's called Khan Ashuna. Shuna in Arabic means a barn, okay, for storage of grain. So this is the Khan Ashuna. Over here, this is Khan el-Umdan, the Khan of the pillars, because there are many pillars here. We'll see it from the outside, and you can easily identify that because there's a clock tower, one of many who
Abdul
were
Hamid.
built to celebrate the 25th year of Abdul Hamid II, the Sultan. Over here, this is another Khan. It's called Khan al-Ifranj. Khan al-Ifranj. Ifranj, Franks, are the foreigners, the Europeans. He was established by European merchants in the 16th century. That's why it's called Khan al-Ifranj. This one was built by Ahmad al-Jazar. This one, Daher al-Omar. It's local. This one was given, they got a permit and they built this. And today, there's a Franciscan church with a tower, just like the one in Jerusalem.
Church and
just
school?
like the one in Ramleh. Okay, so St. Xavier's.
Is it a church and a school?
Sorry? Yes, both they have here. Of course, everything here is modern.
When was it
did
built?
not exist. In the 16th century, originally. What we see now is later, 19th century and 20th century.
In the
And
16th
there's
century,
also
so
this Khan, this big Khan, which is Khan al-Shawarda. Shawarda in Arabic means wanderers, but it actually means merchants who travel and bring commodities with them. Today it's a parking lot and a great space. We'll see that later. In the Crusader period, this site of Khan al-Shawarda used to be the site of a convent. Okay, we'll get back later. Now, let's get back in time to the Crusader period. What do we have in Akko in the Crusader period? Firstly, the borders. Akko today, the old city, is the Turkish city. It's small. The Crusader city was bigger, its wall, northern wall was roughly over here, and its eastern wall was, guys, where you're standing. Okay, remember we were traveling on the bus, and this is where we were entering the Crusader city. So it's much bigger than the old city today. The Ottoman city shrank, because remember, for the Crusaders, this is the gateway to the Holy Land. For the Ottomans, it's a city that was revived by Daher and Ahmad al-Jassar, and it's not that important.
So the Crusaders,
Sorry?
the Crusaders' old city was much bigger than Jerusalem.
The Crusader city, not old city, city.
It was bigger than Jerusalem.
Almost twice as big as this Turkish city.
And Jerusalem.
No, Jerusalem is actually bigger.
The old city.
The old city is the Crusader city. It's 1 square kilometer. Now, in the Crusader period, therefore, the walls are beyond the lines that we see here. There's a harbor still existing today, but this is the Crusader harbor. Okay. And in this harbor, there was a mechanism that helped secure the harbor. Only ships that got a permit could go in or out.
Oh, the rope?
Yes, that's not the rope, it's the chain that stretched from here to here. Okay, like?
Constantinople.
Yes, exactly, same thing. The same chain that we've seen at the staircase leading up to Baha'u'llah's room. No, it's a bigger one. It's a bit. Oh, you said that. Great minds think alike. I'm privileged.
I will take that.
Okay, so this is the chain. Catena in Latin. Catena. So this is the harbor of the Catena. It's the official name. Harbor of the Catena. Harbor of the chain. Okay. So that's the Crusader harbor. Next, just 1 second, guys. Next to the Crusader harbor, there's this. The Tower of the Flies. The Tower of the Flies, which is Hellenic in origin, and still this day you can actually see the remains of the structure still standing today. From time to time, parts collapse into the sea. Last time it happened was quite recent, and it's going to eventually it's going to disappear. You can take a boat from here and take a 15 minutes travel around. They bring you quite close to it if you like.
Was it like a temple or something? Or
We
just
think so. We don't know, but we think so.
Do Rabba Dakila
Now,
to us.
in addition,
No, they do.
in the Crusader period, the city is divided into sections, each section belonging to another political entity. It's not one city. The cathedral, the King's Cathedral, the city's cathedral, Saint John, hence the name of the city in later period, Saint Jean d'Acre, Saint John of Acre, is also the name of the church, but also the name of the city after the Crusaders have gone. So the cathedral was here, the palace was nearby, probably in this region, and it belonged to the king. So this is basically the king's domain. Over here, the harbor is also the king's domain. So this belongs to the king, and that belongs to the king. In between, there's a street. You can see this street. This is the marketplace today. In the Crusader maps, it shows as Via Regis, meaning the road, the King's Road. King's Road. And the British Library is right over here. Just kidding. Anyhow, so King's Road is the highway crossing the city between the and linking the cathedral, palace and the harbor. The harbor is the only harbor in Akko. Okay, there are no other harbors. In the city, there are places where the communes resided and the orders resided. For instance, the Crusader Hospitaller order resided in here. This is what we're going to see. The best preserved, beautifully excavated. So this is the Hospitaller area. It's the Knights' Halls. The Knights' Halls, that's the Hospitaller's Knights' Halls. The Templars, the Knight Templars, resided here, in the sea. Okay? Obviously today it's part of the sea. The Mediterranean Sea reclaimed the area, but in the Crusader period there was a wall here leaving this dry. Okay? This is not a harbor. The Templars had no harbor. There is only one harbor, okay, not two. Okay? Now you should write this down, guys. This is the most important thing because many guys stand here, they see the sea, they see the walls here, they say, this is the Templar harbor. No, that's because they're thinking too much. You shouldn't think before you read. Alright? Archaeological reports are very important. You fall asleep, but you get something. So this is not a harbor. In addition, there are the communes, remember? So, the commune of Genova resides here, to the west of the Via Regis, the west of the main market. This is the Genovese neighborhood, the commune. Over here, around Khana Shawarda, which did not exist back then.
Pisa.
Over here, this is the Venetian neighborhood. So Venice, opposite Genova. This is the only place in the world where Genovese people live next to Venetians. Okay? Across one street. And eventually, over here, the people of Pisa live.
When did the Italians go?
Okay, now this is important because this is the area of the fish restaurants. Alright, so you should know that more than anything else. So the fish restaurants is the Pisan neighborhood. When you look down here, there's something standing here. There's a wall here. Okay, what is this? Well, nothing. It is definitely not a Pisan harbor. Why am I saying that? Because everyone says this is the Pisan harbor. Why do everyone say it's a Pisan harbor? Because there's a sign there saying the Pisan harbor. Right? Never believe signs. If you have any doubts, just ask me. There is no Pisan harbor because there was never a Pisan harbor. The only harbor in Akko is the King's Harbor. Right? Regardless of what you read or hear in popular press, this is the situation. Okay.
Pisa is a town the Leaning Tower.
This is the lighthouse. This is the lighthouse. Okay, and I mentioned that
Is it part of the Ottoman wall?
Yes, this is the Ottoman over here. And this is the place where they jump to the sea. We'll probably see that today. It's a hot day. It's a view.
Are you ready?
Why not?
Yes. Now.
No, I like to watch them.
Remember that I said that this is the Templar fortress. And you could only reach this fortress if you came with your ship into the harbor. So you needed to come from here to here. You could either go in the streets, busy streets, or you could take an underground tunnel that goes underneath. This is the famous Templar tunnel, which was found a couple of years ago accidentally, and here it is in the picture. You can see in the picture, it's more impressive than what you see here. Much more impressive. So,
Are you going to be there?
of course. So, if we ask ourselves, what are the main sites that we must visit with a group in Akko? It's three. One, the halls of the
Crusaders' halls.
Halls of the hospitals. Secondly, the Templar tunnel. And thirdly, Dunayana or any other fish restaurant. Okay, that's part of the itinerary. Just kidding, but that's what you do. Okay?
Not today.
Buri for others over here, of course. But the point is, guys, that there's no way you can do it all. You have to focus on the main focal points. And these are the main focal points. Meaning, you'd usually miss this. You don't go to the prison. You don't go to Ramchal synagogue. Unless it's a Jewish group and you'd like to put an emphasis on the Jewish story. That's fine. All right? But you miss a lot of Akko. You only have 2-3 hours. There's not much you can do. And of course, you want to start here at the model, right? Because people coming from abroad don't have a clue about how Akko looks like. It's a peninsula. There are different neighborhoods. You have to show them what it means, and that's why you start here and you walk directly into the.
And usually, how much time you give it in real life to a group who's interested?
Depending on your itinerary.
So you can do a full day trip in Akko?
If a full day in Akko, I do a full day in Akko. When I give Ishtalmuyot, we do a full day in Akko. But remember, yeah, that's what I said. He asked me if I do a full day. So yes, it's extraordinary. It's not part of the itinerary of an ordinary group. But sometimes you get archaeologists from abroad who are interested in Crusader architecture. So go ahead, by all means. Give them a day and a half. You bury them in Akko.
No, the hotels are very good. It's a good place to start.
I'll show you later. Oh, you know what? You won't be able to see the general picture. So, I was asked about the double wall. You heard about the double wall in the time of Napoleon. Okay, so what happens is, there's no double wall, but there's something similar. This is the wall of
Dahr Omar.
Dahr al-Omar. It continues this way. Okay, so this is a corner. Napoleon attacked from this direction. Ignore that, it didn't exist. He attacks from here. It's the north-east direction. He attacks from northeast. Why? Because at that point in the war, the British came with their ships, okay, and they were bombarding Napoleon's army.
Yes.
The only protected area is right behind this corner. So that's why he attacks from this direction. Embarrassingly enough, the cannons the British were using were Napoleon's cannons that they took from Napoleon's army when they defeated them. So they used French bombardment in order to defeat all the French.
When did they take the cannons from the French?
I'm sorry? Slightly before.
In
Israel?
Yes, long way.
Egypt and Jeff.
So that was the attack. But what Napoleon didn't know was that at this specific corner, before he even thought of invading the country, someone, Dahr al-Omar, already identified this as a weak point in the defenses. So he added another section, short wall between these two sections. And Napoleon comes.
When you talk about the King's Road, who is the king?
The Crusader king.
And so
Kings in general, yes.
So, and they sat here or in Jerusalem or
Here,
here?
it's the 13th century.
It became the capital.
It's in the hands of the Muslims. Apart from a short period of 15 years between 1229 and 1244, the Crusaders ruled most of Jerusalem except for the Temple Mount. But other than that, in the 13th century, the king resides here in Akko and not in Jerusalem. So Napoleon attacks this way, this corner, and he doesn't know that there's another wall blocking. In case he breaks in, there's another obstacle along the way. That is gone. You can't see that. That is gone. That's why I'm telling you here, because when we're standing here looking at this, you won't be able to grasp the bigger picture. Here we can see. So thank you for asking. That's the point I'd like to elaborate.
So
Yes.
it's the weakest point because there's no sea bombardment happening, right? It's the furthest from the sea.
It is
That-
furthest from
that's
the
why it was
sea,
good
and,
for Napoleon.
and for the most part, it's hidden from the
British
cannons. So you can hide the army over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we
Eiyal,
need-
can you
Ah,
just
yes,
show
go
us
ahead.
what you're going to enter to the Knight's Hall?
Yes, we're going from here.
Yes.
I think this is where we are. We're going to go to the Knight's Hall, and then we're going to go out again. The exit that you know from your course is no longer available, so it's blocked. We need to go out the same way, and then we'll have a break here. These are also market, restaurants, and so on. Good hummus, and then we'll visit probably the mosque.
حمص
and
فلافل
then
اليوم.
probably we'll go to the to the hammam, and then we'll continue to here and enter the Crusader tunnel.
What does it lead to?
It's the last tour. They have to get back something.
and along the wall, back here, back to see some of the inns along the way and out. So we're going to finish here on top of the wall. So it's a circular, roughly circular path.
So we do have some knights halls which are underground, part of the citadel itself. יש חדרים שהם מתחת לאדמה שלא רואים אותם פה בדגם?
Yes, the entire Crusader city is actually hidden underneath. Complete. We know that. Wherever you dig a little bit,
Specifically
it's there.
underneath.
So it's covered and built upon.
So let's start
So
digging.
obviously, what we see here is just a portion of the city. In the future, much more will find.
How many gates?
I'm
We
sorry.
can see the different
We have no
gates.
idea. We don't. We don't.
The cannons on
There's one gate over here you can see,
And there
right? And there, but that doesn't mean anything in the Crusader period. They've been different.
the cannons on top of the wall, the recent one
The
is
cannons on top of the wall have nothing to do with Napoleon,
Nothing.
but we're going to talk about.
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys,